What's going on? This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world. And so what we're going to talk about is how to trade options, right, in a way that fits your lifestyle. And so what I mean by that is that how can you trade options in a way in which fits your lifestyle, what you have going on and what you're trying to achieve? Because what we're trying to understand is that what I'm trying to help you do as an options trader is to design your life. So it's bigger than just making money, because there's a lot of ways in which you can make money, right? But the way you have to make the money doesn't really fit into the lifestyle design that you want. And so let me give you an example of this. Years ago, I was watching this interview. They was interviewing Beyonce, and Beyonce's a big time entertainer, right? So everybody pretty much knows who she is. And what Beyonce was saying was that as an entertainer, as a performer, she's been all over the world, but she's actually seen very little of the world. And what do we mean by that? What Beyonce does as an entertainer, she goes to a city, she does sound checks, she does a show, and she leaves. Why? Because she's on a tour schedule. So Beyonce has gone to some of the most, some of the biggest cities in the world, some of the most beautiful cities in the world, some of the most historical cities in the world. But while she's in that city, because she's on a tour schedule, she doesn't have time to see the city, to see the sights, things of that nature. She's on a tour schedule. So Beyonce may get $1 million plus a show. She's making a lot of money to come perform. But because she's working and the way she makes her money as a performer, she has to come in, do a show and hit the next date because she's on a very, very tight schedule because we're trying to do this run during our tour season. So what Beyonce has to do is after the tour season is over, try to figure out, well, how can I go back to some of the same places I was already in, I was already working in to now finally see these cities. This is what happens to a lot of entertainers, right? That do international dates. They're all over the world internationally, but have seen very little of the world because they're in these particular places to work and they don't have a lot of downtime, right? The longer you stay in between tour dates, the more expensive that tour starts to become. So what they try to do is have you do 2 and 3 shows a week over a certain amount of week period so we can knock these shows out so we can get this tour off the road, because putting that tour on the road is very, very expensive, right? Many of you will come in the options market the same way, where you think more about the money that you think you can get as opposed to the lifestyle, right? The lifestyle design, of living life on your own terms. And so one of the advantages of the markets, it will allow you to live life on your own terms, but you have to believe that that is possible. So what a lot of people do is that they go into the markets and essentially they got the same schedule they was when they was working, where they think they got to wake up every day early in the morning, get ready for the market, and then sit at their computer all day until the market closes at 4 o'clock, right? Then they start all over again. They do that Monday through Friday. Well, if that's how you got to make your money, you just essentially have replaced one job for another job, because there's no scenario in which you can't be there at 9:30 when the market opens, right, until 4 o'clock when the market closes, and you got to do that Monday through Friday. So even though you might be making more money, you may not have a boss, you may not be attached to a job. If you have to do that schedule to make money, you've just replaced one job for another one. And so what you want to understand is that what type of lifestyle do you want as a trader? And are you trading in a way that will provide that kind of lifestyle? Because this is what I want you to understand about life. This is something they don't teach us. When you have a job, most people, their sole source of income is their job. And they're really programmed to believe that I'm supposed to try to figure out how to make this job provide all the money that I need in life, right? Or if that don't work, then I just go get a second job. What I'm trying to get you to understand is that the market may just be one stream of income for you, right? But it's a stream of income in which there is no cap. You can operate it when you want to operate it. Nobody's going to try to stop you from doing it because of your race, your sex, your color, your sexual orientation, anything of that nature. So it provides a level of freedom, and you're not responsible to this authority, right? In which you have to report to them and do what they say. And it's not really designed to steal as much time from you as a job. But if you operate it that way, you can find out that it's doing the same thing. So the market may be one of your sources of income, the same way that real estate can be one of your sources of income. That's why I call it the highest paid part-time job in the world. It's designed to be a part-time job. It's not designed to be something that you're doing 80 hours a week at. And that's what a lot of people get caught up into, because they come into the markets and then they're under the tutelage of somebody who's made this an 80-hour-a-week job. And then they start to think, well, to make that kind of money, I got to do what this person does. But let me explain something to you. This is America. There's a lot of ways to make money. So if you don't like the lifestyle design 80 hours a week in the market does, then that just means that you got to find another way to make money. But you know you can go make money in the markets. So if you decide that, you know what, I can make $10,000 a month out of the markets, right? Working this many hours per week on what I'm trying to do. Or I have my options place set up to where they're going to generate me, let's say, estimated $60,000 a year, right? And I can keep a lot of that because I am trading out of a Roth IRA through my account, as opposed to trading directly into my account as income. That's a whole nother conversation that we can have, right? And that's your design. And then you also have a consulting business. You may have a product-based business. You may have another service-based business. You have multiple streams of income, and the market is just one of your streams of income that you manage. Don't look at the markets the same way you look at your job, where the market's got to provide all of my income. It may have the ability to do that, right? But the question is that for you to do that, are you living your life by the design that you wanted to live your life? Because I think the most important thing is you want to try to realize is that if you can live the life that you want to live and make the money that you want to make and build the wealth and have the wealth position that you desire that works for you and what you're trying to do, then that's the real freedom. It's not what another person thinks about it, right? So if you have the time that you want to spend with your family and you make $50,000 a year out of the markets, but you can spend the time that you want to spend with your family, right? And that's freedom to you, then you should be cool with that. Don't worry about what another person's making. I follow a guy on Instagram. That guy probably pulls $250,000 a year out of the markets, right? Do you know for that guy to do that, that guy is up. That guy probably does 80 hours a week in the markets. And there is no stopping. It's not like, oh, he's going to get to a certain position, he's going to quit. He never's going to stop, right? Because not only he doesn't just do that for himself, he manages a prop firm in which he's managing funds on behalf of other people. So his lifestyle is just the markets all the time, 24 hours a day, even Saturdays and Sundays. And that's how he chooses to live his life. That's his life. It doesn't mean it has to be your life. And so what we're trying to do is empower you with skill sets that are going to allow you to live the life of your design. And I'm not talking about, I'm on a perpetual vacation or I live my life on the beach, whatever that you desire to live. So you may be a mother with 3 kids in the house and you're trying to figure out, how can I make $2,000 a month so I don't have to leave my house and go work, right? And then I have this particular skill set that not only am I proficient at, I can go teach it to my family, but most importantly, I can teach it to the girls in my family so they also know how to make money without leaving the house, right? But you may pull in $2,000 a month. Well, if that $2,000 a month is good enough for you to do what you need to do and also take care of your family, then that's the freedom. It's not that, well, if you ain't doing 10 grand a month at the markets, you ain't really doing nothing. That's not, you can't let somebody else put that expectation on your household because they're not in your household, right? And that's a conversation that you need to be having with your husband, not somebody on the internet. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So this is how you make the mistake. Don't let somebody else's definition, right, of life by their design be the design of your life, because that's what the job does. The job tells you that this is how you got to live your life because these are the parameters that we set up on the job. And then you have to conform to that to get access to that money that they say they have for you. So then what happens is the job designs your life. I know people that's on call all the time, every weekend. They don't have a day off. Even on their days off, they on call. Do they get paid for that? Yeah, but they also have the obligation to respond to the call when the people tell them to. So their life is being designed by their job, right? And then they will go into another scenario and think, well, if I want to make money, I have to operate in the same format. It's not about that. It's about you trying to figure out what are ways in this particular economy that I can build the wealth that I want to build, I can generate the income that I want to income, and I can still live life by my design. whatever that is. You may just want to paint all day, right? You may want to make music. But I have a way of supporting myself so I can live the life by the design that I want to live. And that's why we call it the highest paid part-time job in the world, because it allows you to generate high levels of income on a part-time working basis, right? As opposed to being a slave to the market. Because if you're going to be a slave to the market, I mean, you might as well just go and be a key chemist to make $1 million a year. Because most people in the market aren't making $1 million a year. But if you become a key chemist at a pharmaceutical company, you can make $1 million a year easy. So if you just want to be a slave to something, go to school, get a degree, get a graduate degree in chemistry, and get a job as a key chemist working for a pharmaceutical company, and you'll make $1 million a year. And the hell with the markets, because most people in the market is not going to make $1 million a year. But as a key chemist for a pharmaceutical company, you're going to work 65 hours a week. That's how that's going to play out, right? That's how that's going to play out. But you'll make $1 million a year. So a lot of people don't understand is that there's a difference between building wealth and getting rich, right? And if you want to get rich, really the way to get rich is to get a high paying job, right? If you want to build wealth, wealth is built over time, right? Wealth is not something that happens in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And wealth is a lot more about consistency and understanding how to play the game of wealth, right? But to me, the real wealth, right, is you being able to live the life and that you want to live, you having the time freedom to spend with your family and your loved ones that you desire, right? And you been able to generate enough income to allow you to do that. And then you have the time to sit back and be creative and start thinking about how can I improve my wealth position. If you're drained from working 65 hours in a week in the markets, when do you have time to be creative and think about how to build more wealth? You're drained from the markets all the time. And so a lot of people, what happens is they get into that particular position. They say, oh man, I can't take this. This is too much. And they fall away from the markets and understanding the power of it. Because you need time alone with your thoughts to be creative, to think about what is your next particular move going to be. You can't do that if you're mentally drained from trading from 9:30 in the morning to 4 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday. And on top of that, you got a family. And on top of that, you got a husband or a wife, right? You're going to be too drained mentally to be able to sit back and be creative. So when you go into the markets, you really got to understand what are your goals lifestyle wise, not just income, lifestyle. And how can you figure out how to trade in a way that meets those particular goals? And so that's something that we're working on to launch in 2021, is that help people that want to kind of live a life that's where they're not so tied to the day-to-day activity of the market. They'll put them in a position to live the life that they actually want to live, whatever that is, right? To also be able to benefit from the power of the options market, but not feel like they got to wake up every day, 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning, figure out what's going on in the markets, and then sit there and watch their computer screen until 4 o'clock, right? Worrying about an exit because they're trying to work a day trade or they're trying to work a short term, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day swing trade, right? And so that's something that we've seen that a lot of people are struggling with. And as a result, they're leaving the market because they're not successful in navigating that issue because they was taught the market by somebody that just sits in front of their computer all day. I asked one guy, I was like, well, what do you do as a trader if the trade if you're not able to find your entry or your exit? Like, what do you do in the meantime? And the guy was like, oh man, I just sit back and just look at charts all day. It's like, this is what this guy does all day. Now he makes a lot of money, but this is what he wants to do with his life. He wants to sit in front of a computer from 9:30 to 4 o'clock every day, waiting for his entry. That's what he desires to do with his life. He doesn't have a problem with that. So if you don't have a problem with that, that's cool. But if you don't want to live like that, don't believe that the markets are not for you because you don't want to pursue that kind of lifestyle. It's a lot of ways to skin a cat. It's a lot of ways to shoot a gat. And it's a lot of ways to die, if you want to quote Tupac. So there's more than one way to go about this. But you need to be around people that have the creativity to try to be able to try to figure out what are alternate ways in which we can get a result outside of the traditional way, because the traditional way of teaching people how to day trade and how to swing trade is to tell them to just sit in front of their computer all day from the time the market opens to the time the market closes. Okay. So if you want any more information about the highest paid part-time job in the world or what we're working on in the near future, you want to try to figure out how you can get more time with your family, how you can start living the life that you want to live, right? And not have to be worried about things like income stress, right? Or getting a furlough because of COVID-19 and things of that nature. Reach out to me about the highest paid part-time job in the world. Reach out to me about one-on-one options consulting. And if you know somebody that can get value from this, share it out. This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, and I'll talk to you later.